So we had arrived at this river at about noon that day. We're facing this thing out here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is a rushing river. And we were faced with this decision. We had a 3-part decision. We could either try and cross it, which is extremely dangerous, especially if there's no local person around, because local people know where the holes in the river are because they're driving across things like this every day. They also know how high the river can be when it's safe and how high it is if it's not safe, etc., etc., etc. We were not local people. There was no local people around. So that was a very dangerous option. Option number 2 was we could turn around, go back to where we came from, and find a safe place to stay that night. And the reason we might do that is because we were on a game preserve, and there are a lot of African wild animals like lions and zebras and elephants and wildebeest and like all the big 5 that you can think of on this game preserve. And we actually were sitting there and we watched like some elephants run by. We heard a lion or a hyena in the distance. Like, it's not like the best place to just sit. Lots and lots of predators. So we could turn around and go back and find a safe place to stay. Or the third option was we could wait until the water level decreased or until a local person came by in order to cross the river. And at that point, because the only road to the people that we were trying to get to was this extremely expensive, essentially toll road. We had to pay to drive through these game preserves to get to the other side of them in order to minister to the people that we were trying to minister to. So we had this going on in our minds. Well, we're paying a lot of money. Every day that we're here, we're paying a lot of money. So we got to get out of here. We also have the safety issue in our minds. What do we do? So ultimately, we decide we're going to wait at least for a little while. And as we're waiting, I begin to pray and I ask the Lord, Father, what should we do? Now, I've never literally heard God's voice, like I've never heard an audible voice, but every once in a while, he'll give me like a picture in my mind or like an idea or a word or a sentence will pop into my mind that I know is not from me. And I tend to believe that God still speaks to us. I know 100% that God still speaks to us through his word, but I had this experience where this sentence popped into my mind where he said, wait until 5:30. Now, like, the longer we had been waiting at this river, the higher it was getting. We even saw the storm clouds in the distance that were filling this river up. So I'm thinking, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just hearing things. But I shared with the team, I'm like, I think we should wait at least until 5:30 before we turn around. The sun at the equator where we were goes down at like 6:30 or 7, so that'd still give us plenty of time to go find a place to stay if we needed to. But we needed to stay at least until 5:30. And we were waiting for either one of two things, either for the river to go down to a place where we felt safe crossing it, or for local people to show up and show us the correct path to cross this river. So time keeps ticking by. 3 hours goes by, 4 hours goes by, 5 hours goes by, 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. And this green Land Cruiser shows up on the opposite side of the river. 3 guys pop out, all locals. And they start talking to our driver, our friend, Emmanuel, in Swahili. And they say, just give it a few more minutes. We know how high it can be when you can cross. You see that stick right there? As soon as it goes below that stick, you can cross. So we wait 15, 20, 25 minutes. 5:25, these 3 guys hop into their car and they begin to cross this river. Ema, as soon as he sees them crossing the river, says, all right, guys, we can cross too because I see the right path to go. We all hop into the car. It's literally 5:30 as we drive into this river and drive to the other side. And I remember thinking, whoa, how crazy is God? He had mentioned earlier that day, just wait until 5:30. Trust me, wait until 5:30. Everything will be okay. It's literally 5:30 and we're crossing this river. We get to the other side, we drive, we find a safe place to stay that night, and then we get out of the park the next day and all is well and good. I share that story to testify to how faithful our God is and to testify that he is alive, he is active, he cares about even silly things like having to cross a river. He cares about all of these things. He is good. He's a good Father, and He loves us so much. Anyway, I hope you are encouraged, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless.